Of breaking news coming in. This one's from US. President Donald Trump says that we're getting close to a deal on Ukraine negotiations. He further said that envoy Witkoff is set to meet Putin in Moscow as Ukraine signals understanding reached with US on peace plan. Remember, the 28-point peace plan proposal was presented to Kyiv by Washington last week, and the American and Ukrainian officials worked on it over the weekend during talks in Geneva. My colleague Siddhant Mishra continues to be with us. Yes, Siddhant, what can you tell us about the statements from US President Donald Trump?
Well, hectic parleys are underway. In fact, there have been meetings between Secretary Rubio and Ukrainian foreign minister in Geneva. In fact, Ukraine is in touch with European countries as well. There was point of contention also between the countries in Europe and the United States. Initially, when this plan was proposed, this got leaked. Now, US alleged Ukraine for leaking this proposal. Now, the Europe board had to say at that point in time that it had Russian language and it is inclined, the plan is inclined more towards Russia. Zelensky rejected the plan on the face. Then again, both sides met. In fact, Europe also came up with some additional proposals to be inducted in the plan. Now, we've been told that both sides are very actively engaging. And in fact, now President Trump has announced that we are getting close to a deal, and the deal is going to get finalized soon. Now, as far as securities guarantees and peace negotiation is concerned, in fact, Zelensky's chief of staff, who led negotiations in Geneva over the weekend, also says that the security guarantees in Ukraine is seeking in its talks with the US to deter a possible future attack look very solid. So even Ukrainian side is also happy with the developments. In fact, speaking to the news website, Yermak added that he wants Ukraine's president to meet Trump as soon as possible because it will help President Trump continue his historical mission to end this war. So once again, despite the intervention from the countries from the Europe, in fact, these European countries met on the sidelines of the G20 also. They at that point in time said that we want just and lasting peace, but a peace with Ukraine, not without Ukraine. That was the message. In fact, they came up with the additional proposal. They spoke to President Zelensky also. But now again, United States and Ukraine, both countries are directly engaging to implement this 28-point peace plan. In fact, when Secretary Rubio was asked that is he aware about the European proposals, European plan, he said that I'm not aware of any such plan existing. So definitely, as far as transatlantic relationship is concerned, there is definitely point of contention, friction in this relationship as far as Ukraine conflict is concerned, because Europe wants its involvement, its full involvement in any kind of proposal which Ukraine agrees to. At the same time, United States, since the very beginning, has been dealing with Ukraine directly. In fact, in between, President Trump did try to keep European leaders in loop several times. There have been telephonic conversations. But, when it comes to negotiations, when it comes to directly, then U.S. is directly dealing with Ukraine. Perhaps this is something which Europe is not liking it from the very beginning. So now all eyes are going to be on this week, because Thursday was the initial deadline given by President Trump to President Zelensky. But it looks like that deadline will be missed by Ukraine because negotiations are still underway. So let's see, there could be a possible meeting between President Trump and President Zelensky in White House. May not be this week, next week, and perhaps then we could look at some kind of an announcement.
All right, Siddhant, thank you so much for all of your inputs that you shared with us this morning. And now shift